Now, here comes the tricky bit. You know your project that you're supposed to work on, the cafe job, it's I can define my own area, I can define my own room situation, correct? There's no, wow, life is not so easy, you always got a room, then you become a room, that kind of thing. But sometimes you need to call it, the room is not very, very roomy, or so easily roomy situation. Like for example, I can click on this, okay, like that, and I call it a room. Possible also. But the problem with this is, if you look at it right now, you will see, hey, look, this is what do you think this area is? My guess is, this probably is a living area. Very likely, right? But if you look at this right now though, it has food and all that, so cooking hobs and so on, and a fridge. Likely this one not living area, likely this one is a kitchen, isn't it? And this area here could be something, this could be something. It's a problem. Now if we add this, and then if you just label this, you find that we are trying to cover too much area or too much types of spaces with one label, which is a problem. So this is not what we want to do. Okay? So what we will do is, if you make a mistake, select this and erase it. Then you will now see an error warning. Please read it. It says here, a room tag was deleted, but the corresponding room still exists. You can place another tag for the room using the room tag tool, or select the room and delete it. This means what? Hey, there's no more tag already. But the area definition, the boundary definition remains here. It's still there. That means to say, if I plonk something here, it will form a duplicate. Okay, alright, yeah, this one. So what would happen is, you must always select this area again and erase it so that it's cleaned off totally. That one. So what happens is, you will realize that after you use Revit for a while already and you're quite used to it, you are very, very careful with your vocabulary, your language. You are very careful, especially when it comes to what is a room, what is an area, especially this room. A room is typically, it can almost be defined by having very defined obstacles, boundaries, like 4 walls, 5 walls, 6 walls, for example, that forms the space, a room. Alright? But for an area, however, it is not so defined. It could be defined by merely a floor finish, furniture, fixtures, etc., or even sometimes nothingness that you freely define as. That's what we call an area. That's why in some of our proposals that we do, we are very careful with our words. We don't call it a room, we call it living area, dining area, because it is not a room proper. It is but a definition of space, or a labeling of space. Now to facilitate this to happen, we need to do something else to it. We need to add what is called a room separator. The room separator is under Architecture tab. It is under Room Separator here, this side. Please take a look at this. Once you click on that, it is almost as if you are beginning to draw lines in. Okay, can we follow? I hope you can. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I know that this area here is going to be the living area. So what would happen is, I will just draw a line to define this so that it becomes a room of sorts that I can give it a logical name to. So this is what we're going to do. Now I'm going to click on Room Separator and draw one line from the corner here to here. Draw another line from here to here. You will see the lines being down here. After that, I will then click on Room again, Room tag, Notice now, when I mouse over this, the room boundary definition changes from extending all over the place to the exact area we are talking about here. Alright. So right now I want to work on this entrance foyer also. But again, you look at the room boundary, it's all over the place. It's spilling over. Can't do it. So I'm going to go back and use the room separator to cut a line across so that I am able to label this and I'm able to label this. Then I will label this one also while I'm at it. Label this also. Label this also. And label this also. Again, if you look at this now, oh oops, not properly enclosed region or something like that. So if it's not properly enclosed, let's take a look and see what is going on. If it is not properly enclosed, I will try to add then the room separator line to it. Okay, in hope that it can then define the rooms properly this way. All right. Something like this. The balcony is the tricky bit because the balcony is an incomplete model. It doesn't enclose very nicely. So you must almost use the room separator function to draw a boundary yourself manually in order to define that room. If not, nothing's going to happen properly. Take some time, please try this one. Got to master how to do it. If not, what's going to happen in your cafe project is you will need to define, say, party area, okay, events area, seating area, cooking areas, etc. So very different unique spaces that you may have to deal with. Alright, it will require you drawing those boundaries quite frequently. Next, we are going to move to naming them. So what will happen is, I will, for example, I'm going to start calling this living area. I will call this study area. Entrance, foyer, kitchen, I don't know, maybe it's the maid's room. Okay. Or this is the bedroom 1. This will be the master bedroom. If you are like some of your classmates earlier who made this problem, when you double click on this, something happens. Then you just jump into this particular thing here, and then you find that you lost everything. You didn't lose anything. Alright, the fact remains that you have gone into the family editing mode. This is what we call the family type editing mode. We are going to touch this very soon, but not right now. So when you see this happening as it is, you will click on the big R button and you will click close. Once you click close and save or not to save, you say no, you will go back to the project. Okay. And then you will stay here. This one, okay, maybe we call this the balcony. Alright, like that. There you go. Next, I want to show you another function called tags. It is under Annotate, under Tag by Category, this one. This one has something to do with what you call your door schedule and your lighting schedule submission requirement. Okay, so that's the thing. So you want to pay attention to this one. Once you have this, you click on Tag by Category. You will find that when you mouse over the door, let's say we're going to do doors. So if you mouse over this, you click, you create something here. Same thing, this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do this over and over this, over. By the time you are done, you will barely be able to recognize your drawing because it's going to get pretty dense, like that. It's going to get pretty dense because your drawing is now 1:100. It's 1:100. That's too small for the labels to happen. Alright, if you want the drawings to appear neater, then you will need to zoom in a little bit more by changing the scale. So pay attention to this part called the view scale. You can click on this and change it to 1:20. You will find that now suddenly the scale doesn't change, but all your annotation, notes and everything becomes super small. Maybe that is too small. So let's change it to 1:25 then. You'll find that the information and everything remains there. Everything else would remain nicely except all your annotation symbols and text becomes a whole lot smaller. And by the way, do you know why you need to do this? Why do I want to add a set of confusing numbers to this anyway? By the time you finish your ITP, you should be able to confidently answer this question. Why? This is so that in your tender document, you can clearly identify door number 3 is located at where, and you can properly account for every single one of those items inside the project. Every single one of the items to be constructed, to be supplied in the project, so that you can account for it in terms of cost and money. That one. Alright, this is what you do for tagging.